G'day everybody, and welcome back to Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions for part 2 of building a luggage rack for the CB450. Part 1, we made an L bracket for the left hand side and I had to do a mirror image, which I have now done, as you can see. So we now have the 2 L brackets. So now we need to build off it. I also have plan B, which is I've actually gone and purchased a Ventura rack for the Ducati in the event that I don't get this done in time. However, I want to take the CB. So the plan is we'll probably put a bar between the two and come out around the top of the tail light with some bits of rod in between. But I also need to be able to come up the back here in order to place the gear bag over the top of it. So what I need to do, I've got another chair which I'm hoping will slide over this tubing. If it does, I'll cut these down and I'll weld them on and make the rack flush, them flush with the rack, and then make another frame to drop in the top, so that I can remove it and leave the rack and not have a big dangerous bit of pipe hanging up in the air. Alright, we better crack on. Rightio. So it turns out that with the bubble level and the bike on the centre stand, the distance from the base of this to the centre of the indicator is exactly the same on both sides. I've also measured from here to here, which is 220, and also at the top is 220. So we're gravy. So all I need to do now is mark these up here, because that'll mark the top of the frame, and then I'll cut them back probably about 25mm below that and weld the bigger wall diameter pipe onto that. So let's go do that. Alright, I've cut these L brackets down now. I had a bit of a think about that tube going over the top, and I've changed my mind. It's very thin wall, and it's actually a little bit bigger diameter than this, to enough that it would be loose and giving me the irrits. So what I've done is I've mounted this L bracket up. I've cut the front of it out so that it just slides over this bolt, because once it's one unit, it'll be almost impossible to fit over these bolts. These ones okay, I can just pull them off and then slot it in and drop it down and bolt it up. So I went back to the tip shop, and actually I did quite a few rounds. I went to a market and went to a couple of hardware stores. I thought I might be able to find a bit of pipe or tube that was about the right size. And I went back to the tip shop, and they had a 44-gallon drum full of old tent poles and things like that, and I found this, and it fits perfectly in here, and it's nice heavy thick wall stuff, so that is absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to use that for my removable top section. So the plan now is to bolt the other one up and get a final measurement on this cross piece here and cut it and weld it into position, and then start thinking about building the frame out the back. It's pretty good. I don't have a pipe notcher, so we've had to hand notch, but that'll be good enough. Now I need to go 220 from the inside of that to the inside of the next one. And this has got a slight curve in it, so I'll just go and line it up and mark it out. And how much is that? So I've relieved it about 4mm. So if I go 5 more here, just to be safe. Bit of tape on there to keep it square. so I've got it clamped in the vise. If I sit that piece in the bottom, I can see that it's perpendicular, so I need to go straight across here. Good. Now I need to take all the paint off that because we want a nice clean surface. Okay, so I've just used a bit of sandpaper, a bit of 180 grit. Ran it on the wire buff first to knock the bulk of the powder coating off, and then sanded it back because we don't want any contaminants in our weld. So we want this metal as clean as possible. Even your hands can make it dirty enough, but that should be good enough for the purpose. I need to do that now to the L brackets. Okay, so it's in position. I've disconnected the battery from the motorcycle. You don't want to weld on a motorcycle or anything with a battery in it because it could earth back through the battery. So we'll just put a tack on this. Alright, so now that's in place. This is the other part of the chair, and I think that if I can get it right neat back into that corner there, it'll be down about that height, but it should be back far enough. I'll get a marking pen and right, so I've got these cut down now, so they'll go in about here somewhere. So what I'm going to do, I'll cut these off. These have got the pipe squashed in here where they had the screw fitted for the plastic chair. Those grey poles, I bought an extra couple, and I've got this bit here which I've ground a lead on and knocked the paint off, and I'm going to put it in here, heat this up red hot and bash it in, and then plug weld through these holes, and that should hold them two together, hopefully. I'll give it a crack. Okay, unfortunately I've run out of argon, so we're going to attempt to do this with a stick welder and not make too big a mess. I think these bars will be good enough. Hey, presto, Brian. Alright, I've just given that a quick lick with some, just with some spray paint out of a rattle can. Let that dry and we'll prop it up on the bike and have a look. Okay, so here it is on the bike in all its splendour. Now I've got these little plastic caps that are removable for when I'm not carrying a bag on it. Now it's a little bit rough, but you know, I've sort of rushed this because I've got no time, and as a result I've also not finished this bit yet, but I've made these, cut these down to length, and I'm just going to use them as they are for now. Essentially we just slide the bag on there and I'll strap it through, and Bob's your uncle. They said it couldn't be done. is the proof. Trick is to find the right bends. So, you know, get to the tip shop, find chairs, anything else. Chairs are good. And we have a low cost $7 luggage rack ready to go away for the weekend. Perfect. Right, thanks for watching. Subscribe, we'll be back. And make sure you check out my Cafe Racer build. Cheers, bye. Motorcycle. And I don't have anything with any luggage. Now, this pile of crap represents a $7 investment at the local tip shop. And I'm going to try and turn it into a luggage rack.